And we are live. We are live on YouTube. Do not adjust your sets. I am here with the lads. It's Tottenham channel, freshly rebranded after an amicable divorce from the Cheese Room podcast, who we still maintain a very close working relationship with. But I really wanted to just say hello to everybody. Welcome to the new channel. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. And we're here with you for the next sort of 30 minutes or so, just discussing all things Tottenham. Really, you can ask us whatever you like in the chat. As long as you subscribe, you can discuss with us, debate with us, get involved, get interactive. Please do follow our new social page, the X or Twitter handle is at the bottom of the screen. And Matt and Jack are here with me as well. So, it's a pleasure to see some familiar faces in the chat already. We see you, Kerry. Hi, Richo. Hello, N17 Stu. Hello, Phil. Let's get going. Matt, how are you?
Yeah, mate. Good to be back. All fresh and new. See what Tottenham can do to us this season. Looking up in the top corner, mate. 19 people watching. That's good so far. We didn't know what was going to happen. I think there's more people watching than we've got following our Twitter page. So, yeah, looking forward to getting back into it. Looking forward to pulling more of my hair out over Spurs, mate.
Ain't got much left, mate. Starting on time malarkey, John, is I'm trying to turn over
the new caller.
It's mainly because everyone just whinges at me for not starting on time. There's a good reason not to start on time, but whatever. I'll just shut up. Jack, how are you, my American friend?
I'm doing very well. I'm enjoying the 40-degree heat with the high humidity that we have in North Carolina, or actually across most of the states. Hasn't rained in a month. Everything's almost dead. But it's a beautiful day in the YouTube here with lads. It's Tottenham. I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited for the new venture. Starting on time's only one thing. We're gonna be doing a nice, concise shows. We're not dragging it out for people to have to go to sleep with at YouTube night. So I think I'm really excited. This is gonna be fun.
Jack, you nearly said I'm good here in the Cheese Room, then, didn't you?
It's gonna take. I tried really quick to swallow that, but it's just an old habit.
Phil's saying, are we still going to get the Craig and Gibbo bromance? Not seen Craig for months. Craig's had some stuff to do, hasn't he? Tuesday, is it, Gibbo?
Yeah, we're back on Tuesday, me and Craig, doing our little talk show.
I look forward to that then.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it as well.
There is stuff, to fall asleep to. It's available on a Tuesday. So listen, Matt, what's going on in the world of transfers at Spurs then? I mean, it's obviously Euros. It's obviously a bit quiet. So what's happening?
Well, we've got Werner in, haven't we, on loan? So it's lucky we've not got HG on tonight. So we don't get him going into rant mode. So we've secured Werner. And I think a few of us were hoping that
under the terms that I spelled out too. I'm taking credit. I'm going to go ahead and pump up myself here and say about May. I said I'm okay if we sign him for another loan, but please don't pay anything for him and don't put him on a long-term contract. I'm begging you, and that's what they did. So obviously they listened to our shows down there in N17. So that's good for us.
Well, let's get into it. What do we think about that one then?
Well, £180,000 a week. That's what I think about that, Matt. £180,000 a week. No doubt a loan fee as well. And I am questioning already Ange on transfers because as if Johnson on the right wasn't bad enough, we've now got Werner on the left. I don't really understand the logic of this transfer, if I'm being really honest. Now, if he's going to be an understudy, that's fair enough. But 180 grand a week for someone to sit on the bench. I know people will say, it's Premier League money. You can get good players for a lot less than that. I don't really understand it. He didn't really impress me on loan. He was okay. But it's just a bit of a strange one, isn't it, Jack? I mean, we've committed balls deep on this guy from the word go. A bit odd.
I'm not, I'm no fan of his. I think I don't have a problem with him personally. I just know that he has a limited skill set, and I see them. My expectation is that he will be buried on the bench. That Son will be our primary left wing. I don't think Son's going to be. I hope that Son won't be playing striker very much. I'm expecting him on the left wing, and Werner's going to be your second or third option. We've got a lot more games. You hope to go a little bit deeper in the cups. You've got Europe. He could be a useful player for rotation to eat up minutes. He works hard. He's just got a limited skill set. You have to give him a lot of opportunities, and that's the problem, is he doesn't convert enough of them. So, yeah, it's a lot of money, but the reality is we've dropped an enormous amount of payroll over the last 6 months, and we have the room. I'm not worried about Daniel Coffin up 180 a week. Not bothering me a bit. The finances are fine. So I don't see it as a problem. If he is the one who causes us not to sign, an attacking player that we should be signing, then that's a problem. But I'm assuming he's just a luxury item, expensive as it is. It's second or third, deep on the left side, maybe plays a little bit in the middle here and there in some early cup games or something like that. But
do you buy a Gucci scarf and then just keep it in the closet, do you, Jack?
Say again?
He had a Gucci scarf.
Well, no, that's what he's saying. A luxury item that's not going to play.
Yeah, he's a good. Yeah, exactly. You pull out for special occasions.
Why are we spunking cash on a Gucci scarf that's never going to be seen?
Is
he's now going to be known as
big a deal?
Gucci scarf, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not saying I support the move. I'm just trying to find a justification for why it's not that big a deal, that we shouldn't be too alarmed about it. Now, again, I hear the people saying, Johnson isn't good enough, Werner isn't good enough, and those are two of our top three wingers at this point. And if that's the way we go into the season, then yes, you have to question somebody, whether it's Ange or Lang or Levy or everybody, whatever. But I'm not going to panic that this is the only deal we've done. I'm not worried about it. Now, if we get to the end of the window and we're basically right where we are as far as attacking options, then we've got huge problems.
Never wanted Werner. Cannot doubt the guy's commitment or desire. He is what he is. He's useful, never a starter. Yeah, that's probably a fair point. Okay,
Matt. Squad player, mate. I mean,
squad player.
Is 180k massive these days? Is 180k?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. You could get a lot for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a squad player, mate. Like Jack's hit the nail on the head.
Play a few on the left. This way, Gibbo. Harry Kane's last contract at Spurs was only just more than that.
Yeah, well,
it was like 190, 200 grand a week. So, yeah, it's massive money.
Mate, I just think he's in.
Even Eric Dyer's only on 80 grand a week.
If him and Johnson were to be the starting wingers when we start the season, I'd be worried as well. But he's just a squad player. He's just like filling the roles that Jack said. Like if we change system, he could play up front in a 2. He'd probably do a turn on the right, play on the left. It's just a body, isn't it? Mate, I'm not over the moon about it. But if we're going to get somebody else, if we're going to get some better players in, then I won't worry too much about it. But obviously, that's to come, isn't it? We've got to see what happens there. But yeah, as a squad player, mate, I'm not really that fussed about it. I'll make my judgment on that signing when the transfer window shuts.
35 people watching already. Please do smash that like button. Let us know that you're here in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. What else have you got for us, Matt? Hopefully it's more tantalising than the prospect of Werner and his boost bumps.
Well, we'll just talk about players that have recently been linked, haven't they? And like the one today
then. Hit me up. Who you got?
Ramsey from Villa. Apparently,
Jacob Ramsey.
Yeah. We've been speaking. Well, I don't think.
Well, you're
all
the
those different things. Oh, I'm not the expert, mate.
Well, aren't you married to a Villa?
I'm married to a Villa fan. Yeah, I'm in a big Villa family. They think they haven't really got a lot of time for Spurs because of the Jack Grealish saga. When we sort of offered them,
but what do they think?
Over in a bag of salt and vinegar crisps. But
what do they think of Ramsey? Go on.
Good player. They rate him. I mean, I'm not 100% sure where he'll fit in, but John seems to say earlier that he can sort of play middle of midfield or out on the left. Whenever I've seen him, he's quick. He can beat a man. He moves the ball forward. Like I said, pacey. And he's English, isn't he? And I think probably more importantly for Spurs, when they were looking at probably going in earlier on, they thought Villa might be struggling with the old PSR thing, which is like what might be our transfer strategy, looking for clubs that are
find the
in
clubs that are
PSR trouble.
struggling for cash
Yeah.
and take their mediocre players.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, that is a hell of a strategy, Matt. It must have taken a whole lunch hour to come up with that.
Well, it's. I think it's when you look at a lot of the players we've been linked with, mate. It's staring you in the face, isn't it?
Yeah. Jack, you're frantically googling Jacob Ramsey. What have you found?
Oh no, sorry, I was distracted by something else. Actually, I was getting ready for something else. Jacob Ramsey he's fine. I mean, the price tag that he would go for is probably excessive because of the English premium. I don't know that he is significantly I don't know how much of an upgrade he is on a Johnson, quite frankly. I mean, I think Johnson could develop into a player that's as good as Ramsey potentially. I don't know that he's that special. Obviously, he missed half the season last year. I don't remember what Matt, you remember what the injury was? I know he missed a lot of time. What was
I don't know what the injury was, but
I don't remember either. I mean, he didn't get a lot of games.
He's not a wide right. He's not a winger though, is he? So he's not a.
He's played wide. He's played wide left for Villa, and he's played.
Yeah, he can play wide. I'm saying, I just don't see him as that he solves any problems for us in any great way. I think we should be targeting better players.
They're trying to put Gio in the deal, aren't they? I think he's.
Well, I mean, what's his name? Dracula, Villa manager.
Yeah,
he loves him.
Emery.
He loves Gio. Yeah, Emery. Yeah.
If he was already on the squad, I wouldn't have a problem. Like if he was already on a team, I think good player, but he's not walking into our starting 11 and fixing any problems in my opinion.
You know as well as I do, Gio signs for Villa looks like a worldie. It's going to happen. It's really and stays fit for
exactly.
Yeah. 40 million quid seems a lot for me, Ramsey. So I'm not having this. I'm not having this transfer window so far. I don't want to be linked with Ramsey and Werner being our first signing. I want some big names. Give me some big names, Matt. Come on, you've got some big names.
Let's discuss Eze, mate. How's that tickling your fancy?
Oh, that's tickling my fancy. Let us know what you think of in the chat if you would like to see Eze in a Spurs shirt, and more importantly, if you think it will happen. Jack, I'm going to come to you on this. Eze, look, I would say he's exactly what we need. Creative, can beat a man, stays fairly fit. He's had a couple of spells out of the team. And, he's just had his call up to the England team. He's at the Euros, so nothing's probably going to develop in a hurry. Mm-hmm. My concern would be a couple of things. There is the injury record, which is a worry. The second thing is, would Palace really need to sell? Because they've just sold their other star midfielder, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I'm questioning is that now that Michael Leese is gone, I just can't see how they don't need from my looking at the financials. I don't think they have any need to sell, but he does have a release clause. That's the issue. So it really comes down to Eze. I mean, if he wants out, then he's going to have his choice of places to go. For me, I would be backing the truck up for this kid. I think, like Matt, he fits so many. He challenges immediately for a starting position without question. In fact, he probably walks in would be a better statement if he's comfortable playing out wide on the wing. But he has all the tools. He's English and homegrown. He just addresses so many things. He's young, he's dynamic. I would absolutely back the truck up. If Spurs decided to make him their number one target and go after him the way they did that other great spending spree we did on Toney and Dembele. I mean, we should be going that hard for him. Now that Toney didn't work out, but I mean, we should be backing the truck up for this kid. I think. What's
the fee being quoted, Jack?
60 is what's been quoted as the release clause. And I think that there's going to be enough. If he signals that he's open to making a move, there are going to be people who are going to be willing to pay more than 60. You're going to have to go into the 80 range to get him, is my estimation. And I wouldn't be, I'm not saying you have to spend 80. You couldn't find some, player from that plays in Europe that is possibly just as good that you spend 30 for. But he is a known quantity. I think you'd get the fan base behind him. He's English. He's well known. I think he's a perfect target.
a perfect target, Gibbo. Let us know in the chat. I can see Leon's here. Hello, Leon. Says 3 favourites: Sexy Caller, Angry Gibbo, and Logical Jack. That's
I'm not angry yet. Not
first
angry yet, am I, Caller?
Logical Jack, so that's good. Listen, let us
Thank
know,
you,
Leon. Let us know, Paddy. Hi, we see you. Let us know what you think of the Eze transfer saga. Optimistic FC are in for Eze. 60 million would, to me, be really good business. I mean, he's, for all the reasons you've covered, really young English, fantastic attacking player. Matt, tell me why this will happen, and then Jack, tell me why this won't happen. I want a little bit of a paragraph from each of you, because although this is going to be a shorter show, I've miscalculated. I was almost late, and I wanted to be on time for this first edition, but it's left me a bit dry. So I'm
no, we made it 16 minutes before we had to refill.
Yes, 16 minutes. I want the rum and coke.
Things never change.
Things never change, mate. Gibbo, have you got what you've got to do?
Yes, I hear you.
What do you want to know? Why we will sign him?
There we go.
This is going to be really difficult for me. I mean, Jack, I think we've got the.
I got the easy job. I got
the easy one because me and Leon are in the chat have had a couple of discussions about this. I think because we need to make a big signing, and I think the club are in on him. I think Ange wants him. I think you're right. I think he walks straight into our starting lineup, and I think it's a no-brainer. I think if Spurs go in for him, he's been, as Kerry said, he's been wined and dined at the stadium. So I think they've been laying the groundwork. But I just think it's a signing. You know, he comes straight into our team, like you're saying, Jack, about him going out on the left. I mean, he's younger than Maddison. Longer term, can he take that spot? I think he probably prefers to play more centrally if he can. But yeah, I think it will happen because I think Spurs are after that sort of like star quality player this summer, and I've got a feeling he's a man because he is available because of that release clause. But your argument when we come to you is going to be much easier because of that fee. So look, I just think we get him. I just think we have to get him, and I think he will improve our squad straight away. He will improve our first 11 straight away, and that's why I'm saying I think the club will make him a Spurs player. But Jack, come on then, mate. You tell us why it won't happen.
The reason why it won't happen is because it'll be one of two things. Eze makes a decision that he likes the system that the Austrian has brought to Crystal Palace. You saw their form towards the end of the season. He sees now he would be probably the prime attacking player in that setup. He gets to be, again, for one more year of development, and he gets to put himself in the shop window a little bit more. He's going to move on unless some terrible, horrible injury strikes him. He's going to be moving on from Crystal Palace. It is a stepping stone club. There's no question about it. But if he decides that this is the summer to move, then the problem is that there's going to be more than just Spurs who are going to be willing to meet the release clause. There are going to be plenty of teams that can offer, equivalent money and better history of winning honors. And there's going to be Champions League clubs in for him. But to the advantages that we do have as a club is that he doesn't have to move. I don't know his family situation. I don't follow the players that much, but he doesn't have to move. And that's a bonus. He doesn't have to change leagues. And we can probably compete on wages. It's just going to be, we can compete on wages. Whether we choose to is going to be an issue. So I just think that there are going to be too many other clubs in for him who offer him better prospects. The only caveat would be is that, he just loves the style of football, and Ange can sweet talk him into doing a deal. But I'd say we're gonna have too much competition, and usually Spurs don't win competition. Bayern Munich losing, Dragusin aside, Dragusin aside, we don't usually win competitions with big clubs.
But there is no way that Spurs can't afford to buy him.
Absolutely. We can. Absolutely, we have it.
Because I do not want to see that statement come the end of the transfer window.
Hang on, I'm going to challenge you back.
The deal just proved too difficult to pull through. Load of old cobblers.
Difficult
we can afford to pay the release clause. We can afford to buy him. We can afford to pay him really good wages, as we spoke earlier about. We're paying 180 grand to Werner, so we can afford to do it. The only reason we shouldn't be doing it is if, like you said, the bigger clubs come in who can offer him more. I can understand that, but it just doesn't happen because we're not prepared to, match those demands that are wanted by Crystal Palace and his wage demands. Then, where are we going?
Well, you're right. It's what other clubs come in from, aren't they? I mean, here's a hypothetical for you, Gibbo. Man United come in for him, and it said that the same money is on the table from both teams. Who does Eze pick?
Spurs, because we're in London, and I think, like Jack said, I think he is quite family orientated. So, and I think
that falls under the bracket of optimism FC. Yeah.
Well, it is slightly, but I think at the minute, I think we could potentially get him over Man U.
Oh yes,
I believe that. I believe
absolutely.
That.
No, I don't think Man U's not what I'm worried about. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't follow the other clubs. I don't know what City's thinking. I don't know what Liverpool's thinking. I don't know what Arsenal's thinking. I don't, and I don't study their squads, and I don't care to know their needs and that sort of stuff. But he's a marquee player, high profile. Every fan base is going to want him. I'm not worried about United at all. They are not competition in the transfer market. I just don't see. Other than being able to roll out an enormous wage, which will turn everyone's head, I don't see that as our biggest competition.
Okay, Chelsea are in for him, Jack. Then,
yeah, I mean that's a perfect example of someone who said, okay, here's a club even under new ownership that clearly is staying ambitious, who has financial wizardry at their beck and call to get around whatever sorts of limits that the league tries to impose on them, and they have a history of winning things. I wouldn't go there, but that's just because I'm massively biased, I'm sure. But I mean, if I had the ability, I'd look at the instability of what they do at the manager ranks. But that's not the way players look at it. Most of them, they're looking at Chelsea with a full trophy cabinet and says it won't be long before they'll back to that level. And I don't have to move and I'll get the same money. And, so that's the type of competition that we're dealing with. And we just usually don't win those battles. I'd like to see us get our recruitment right another couple windows like we've done in the last couple of years, and find these nice $30-40 million players, build up and win something so that we can actually start to make the case that we are a club for ambitious players to go places. But we're just not there. And maybe Ange is going to be the guy that gets us there. And I certainly hope. But right now we just suffer by competition when all the big clubs come in. Unless he has his heart set on playing for us, which I can't imagine is the case.
All the big hitters are in the chat tonight. As if it's not enough to have Leon in there, we've got Aleda in there. We've got Dave Harris in there. We've got the Harlow Globetrotter coming back soon to the channel in there. And Nicholas as well is with us tonight. So welcome to you all. Make sure you hit the like button, please.
Wait, hold on. Who took Leon's phone?
Mate, he's taking a rise.
Or is that just I'm just not picking up the sarcasm?
He's trolling.
I guess that's probably the thing. I'm not picking up the sarcasm. I'm used to it on my phone, but on the screen, the big screen, maybe I'm not picking up the sarcasm from Leon.
Look, one last thing on that from me. Like, this is my cynical side coming out now. We will go for Eze, and I don't think we will push the boat out far enough, and we will end up with Morgan Gibbs-White from Forest, a club who were struggling with PSR issues.
Which is wonderful, because I just asked you to make the case to.
I've done that, mate.
Did it. You were somewhere else.
I was listed. Elise would have been good, yeah. Alpha is saying, Elise would have been. Yeah, it does suit our system, but I think the reality is that Bayern have got a bigger pull than Spurs anyway, if I'm being brutally honest. Hence why the goal machine, unless he's playing for England, Harry Kane is there. Yeah, here's where I'm at on Eze. Can't see it happening. Desperately want it to happen. He's the player we need. He's the player I want. I think that would be one of the biggest signings we've pulled off in years if it were to happen. I think it would be a game-changing signing. And you know what? This is what I want to see from Spurs. I want to see us acting with ambition and purpose in the transfer market. If we sign Morgan Gibbs right, then we riot down the lane. Yeah, we'll lead that. Gibb will be there at the front with the pitchforks. He's got pitchforks and combine harvesters galore over there in the West Country.
And my bag from the Spurs shop.
So absolutely, it'll be interesting.
Is that how everyone feels about Morgan Gibbs-White? That we should be rioting if we sign him? I would have thought that was a not unreasonable plan, if not B, plan C for attacking options. I don't watch a lot of Forest, but I had the. I remember everyone saying that was the player you should have bought, not Johnson. So he's definitely an upgrade on that purchase. So definitely, I didn't realize that people felt that poorly about him.
I think he's mind Morgan Gibbs-White. I think he's a decent player, but he's not a game-changing player. That's where I'm at. And
that's fair. That's fair.
What I want to see is people that are going to walk into the first team.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely, we're going to come to this one. Ivan Toney. Now, for me, a successful window looks like Eze and Ivan Toney. And I don't think that's unachievable, if I'm being really honest, because Ivan Toney, he's put it out there he wants to leave. I'm not sure how much competition we'd have for him. He's in the last year of his deal. He is gettable. Definitely gettable. The downside is he's 29 and his attitude might be questioned, but his goals record cannot be questioned. He's Premier League proven. He would move the dial, right? He walks into our first team. The same for Eze. That's what I want to see from our transfer window. I want to see Spurs acting with intent, buying players who are going to get in the first team. Same exercise. Gibbo, this time you're going to give me the reasons why we shouldn't sign Ivan Toney. And then you can tell me what you really think at the end. But I'm enjoying hearing the cases for and against. And Jack, let me know. And let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat after you've hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed what you think about this transfer. And we'll get through some comments as well. Go, Gibbo.
So what am I saying? Why we shouldn't or why we won't?
Why we shouldn't.
Well, obviously, people believe he's got a stinking attitude. So he'd probably come in and disrupt the status quo of the squad and everything that Ange's trying to build. And, mate, this is... I can't do this, caller. Go to Jack. I can't. I cannot do this.
Can't do it.
I'm just talking a load of old pony, mate, because, like, let Jack speak.
Tell me why you want him.
We need to bring Leon on to do the con on Toney. Well, here's why we should sign him. To your point, he is a proven scorer. There is no question about his physical attributes. There's no question about his ability to get into the attack and find those spaces for the good wingers that we're going to be signing this window that will deliver a ball. He's good in the air, good with his feet. He's a big lad. He can bully center backs around. He'll draw a lot of attention, open up a lot of space for other players. One of the things that when you're playing, and this is no disrespect to Brentford, but players that achieve that type of status at smaller clubs can get a little bit, a bit of an ego. You come into a club, and I realize Spurs are not Liverpool, but it's different level players across the board, a different level of seriousness between Spurs and Brentford. And I think that he will realize that he is not the main man. He is not, this is Son's club. This is maybe, this is Romero's club. This is not his club, and he will take a back seat, and his attitude will be in check, and he will be a good player for us if we could get the sign across. How's that for you?
Perfect. I agree with everything you say, Jack. I think the only question with Toney is, again, who else comes in for him? Because I think he will be leaving Brentford. I just think it's where he goes. And unfortunately, that lot down the road need a striker. and it'll be very interesting to see how the Toney discussion progresses, because I don't think much is going to happen right now. It's going to be when England come home, so we've got to wait till Monday to see how the transfers progress, right? Because we all know that they'll be back on a plane on Monday morning. That's
Mate,
what you're wishing for, Jack.
This thing with Toney,
Yeah,
I don't think he has got a stinking. I don't think there's anything wrong with a player being confident, believing in his own ability. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We talk about Johnson. We brought him in, and people are saying, "Oh, he's a confidence player." And Tony's not. Toney does he will walk into our first team, I believe. I know other people disagree with that. I've never been a massive Richie fan, but he will be the best centre forward at our club.
100%.
He will drop deeper. He will get hold of the ball like Son couldn't do, and he will be able to lay Son in. He's a far better footballer than people give him credit for. He's a really good footballer.
He takes free kicks. He's really good at them.
He'll get on the end of things. He'll bring others into play. He will be like a hybrid of what Son offered us up front and what Richie offered us up front. Maybe not the pace of what Son had, but a little bit of both. And he will be an asset to the team.
He's a Kane replacement, isn't he? He's a Kane replacement. He's your 20-goal a season man, minimum. And here's the thing in Angie's system with Werner and Johnson running at terrifying defenders. He's going to get loads of chances to score goals. Look, I think the last thing I would say on Toney is, what did we pay for Richarlison, guys?
60
million. Okay, I think it's 60 with the clauses, etc. 60 million, and he's on a very good wedge of wages. If we've spent that on Richarlison, surely we can spend that on Toney, who's a better player. No,
I agree. We're just talking about players. I would rather have Isak.
Oh yeah.
Over
Toney.
Right.
Wow.
There's no question about that. But assuming that's not
gettable for 60 million.
Assuming that's not on the table, then Toney followed by Richie as your backup, followed by maybe we give one of the maybe Parrott or somebody is some of the kids if you're even or Scarlett or whatever we do with the loan situation, selling additional players. But if that's your depth chart at striker, I think again, if we get wingers who can actually beat a man and cross a ball, you're going to get Toney a lot more opportunities than Brentford gave him, and I think he'd be quite good.
Currently, lads, we're a Europa Cup team, aren't we? That's where we are at the minute, and we're talking about somebody's put Eberechi Eze here. He's Champions League clubs are looking at him. And I don't think we're there yet. But the likes of Toney, definitely Eze, maybe even Ramsey, definitely. Isak would be a statement signing, but I think he's a bit in the category of like Gyökeres, that they are the types of players we need to succeed sort of where we are and hopefully push us on so we can go for the likes of Isak.
I think we have to be
reasonable.
I think we're being a bit generous to Gyökeres. Let's really be honest, okay? He was prolific for Coventry and he's gone to Sporting, which is an absolute farmers' league. You can't compare him with Ivan Toney, who's actually done it in the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah, and this comment, the same, is that we need a poacher and a box player. Toney's it. He absolutely has that characteristic to be a poacher. He's you don't move him out. He finds pockets of space. Again, there are question marks and there may be some red flags, obviously. Well, there are red flags, obviously, but the profile of player is tailor-made for this system, in my opinion. And here's the thing, if you find that if the data analysis by the team that supposedly Lang's put together finds somebody who they really confident on, who they can get for half as much and less on wages, and they want to take the run at it, the club has actually proven to be a little bit better at finding, decent younger players. So if they can find it, great. But if you want to make sure that you've got, like you're saying, a proven striker in this league who knows how to finish, he is the article. You don't have any question marks about whether he can do it on the pitch.
Yeah. Isak would be the real statement, wouldn't he? That would be a banging statement, China.
Let's talk that. It would be a banging statement, but apparently we had a bid turned down for Isak. I don't believe that for a second, including Richie, who's called it bullshit or said lies or whatever he said. But let's just talk Isak briefly. I mean, I can give you 100 million on one reasons why this transfer won't happen, not least because Newcastle won't sell him to a rival. I know they need FFP money, but there's plenty of other players they would want to sell him. That would literally be like selling Harry Kane to Newcastle, because we are probably not far away from being a peer club with Newcastle right now. There's no chance.
I agree. No, I agree. I don't think
150 million. Phil's saying, I think he's right. I think if we bid 100 million plus, then we'd get him.
Yeah,
but there's absolutely no chance we do that.
No.
Mate, if he's going anywhere and Newcastle do have to sell players, I'm not sure if they still do. Somebody in the chat might know. But that is what you were saying about Toney and Arsenal need a striker. Mate, if they need a striker and they know they can get Isak, that's where they'll be going. You know what I mean? I think, because that's what, Declan Rice last year, they needed a midfielder, 100 million, boom, Declan Rice. If Isak's available, and they are after a centre forward, and they can afford him, they will go in for him, and he's going there rather than us, isn't he?
Sadly,
you know what I mean? Even if we did stump up that type of cash, which I don't think I'll ever see Spurs spend 100 million in my lifetime.
Yeah, but I think. In fairness to Arsenal, Arsenal haven't got any more money than Spurs. They make less revenue than Spurs for starters. I just think they take the view that they've got to invest that money to be competitive. Yeah. And in fairness, they've really backed the manager over a couple of seasons, through 2, 3, 4 seasons, and they have invested a lot of money in it. But they did it to start with good players. Yeah, Odegaard's a good example of it. But they didn't break the bank for him. I think it was 30 or 40 million. We've got to find those 30, 40 million pound gems to get to that level, and then you can afford to. Then people will want to come to you, because if we monkeyed 100 million down, and Arsenal monkeyed 100 million down for Isak, who would he go to? I think that's your point, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Isak Eze is the next level for us, isn't he? He's the next level for us. He's at Crystal Palace. He's not like a Champions League player. He's not a starter for his country. He's the guy that can come in, that's got to take us to the next level. And I think Toney could probably do that with us at the moment. Should we progress? Maybe not. But
I don't think Toney's that bad an option compared to Isak, if I'm honest. I don't think he would be that far behind him in the pecking order. I know he's a lot older than him, but I think he gives you the same for a lot less value. So, and he's homegrown and he's English. So, to me, Toney's the no-brainer. Eze is the no-brainer. English players helps the homegrown quota. I know there'll be a little bit of tax, but if you look at their contract situation, they're gettable. This is the summer. We need to show ambition. That's
we end up with, don't you? The last name.
Go on, Gibbo. You just upset me. Go on.
Brooklyn, Jonathan David. That is who we will get.
We got a wrap soon, but I want to talk David. Right, Jonathan David. I'm going to come to you both on this, because that is ultimately the player we've probably been linked closest to in the forward line. He is one of my first signings on FIFA Ultimate Team. Always. Do you know why? Because he is rapid. Absolutely rapid. Fastest
on your
player
computer.
It's on a PlayStation, Gibbo. It's this entertainment console that you can buy from shops now. We've moved on from the Atari. Jonathan David. Tell me what you know, Jack.
What I know of Jonathan David is mostly in a Canadian shirt, because I watch Canada play the U.S., or I watch a lot of CONCACAF international football over here. David is a nice player. He does not change the trajectory of the club next season. I don't know that I'm not even convinced he walks in over Richarlison. I mean, he's got a different skill set. So the nice thing about David is he's a complementary player. I will give you that. and he is rapid. That is certainly his, but so is Werner, and so is Johnson. So we need more than rapid players. They got to be able to play football. And David's is a good player, and I don't think he'd be all that expensive. But I hope that's kind of when they're looking on the pecking list is like our number 1 target, number 2 target, 3, 4, 5. He's somewhere in that 4, 5, 6 range of your targets. He doesn't. I'm not going to riot down the lane if we sign him at all. But I'm not going to be thinking, wow, what a sign of ambition to sign Jonathan David. He's an all right player. He's a good player, but he's nothing special. In my opinion, again, I see him mostly in for the national team, which is different than club football. I recognize. I haven't watched him a lot.
Have you seen England lately?
Yeah, no kidding.
Last year contract, isn't he? So he comes a little bit cheaper than some of the others, maybe. I'm being negative. I shouldn't do that. I mean, he's got a good goal scoring record for Lille, hasn't he? I mean, he scored 27 goals last season, didn't he? He scored quite a few, so he has got a decent goal scoring record.
We have a lot of success with signing French players. So, I mean, for players out of the French league, yeah.
Whenever I've watched him, I haven't been impressed. But he's got a decent goal scoring record for club and for country.
Yeah.
So if it happens, it's one of those that I'll just have to say, Caller said he's good on his PlayStation, so I'll hopefully he's right.
Finally, so the rebrand. I've seen a few comments and questions in the chat. Should we just cover that briefly, Gibbo? Do you want to give a little description of what Lads it's Tottenham is all about?
Well, it's just the guys. What you sort of like tell them who we are. I mean, most of them know, don't they, that we were obviously the Cheese Room YouTube side of things, and we've just sort of split and rebranded, and we've got a little group of us, so we came up with a few names, and we thought, and somebody said the Lads it's Tottenham after Ferguson came in and just gave that as his team talk to like Roy Keane and the boys, and we thought it was quite humorous and quite funny, so we and quite catchy, more importantly, so we thought let's use that, and so here we are, and so we're just going to start. We're going to churn out as much content as we can, shorter shows, try and go in a few different directions, but it's all looking good. I mean, 82 watching already. I've got to be honest. After we hadn't done anything for so long as the Cheese Room, and I think we only sort of
people missed you. People missed that hairline.
Yeah, I'll try to comb it over a bit. We sort of came out, didn't we? When did we come out, Caller? Last weekend.
When did we come out? What?
Yeah, of the rebrand. When did we?
Right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. Not in that way.
What's he going on about? He's lost the plot.
We came out as Lads it's Tottenham.
Yeah,
and it's got a great acronym. I mean, you can't beat the acronym, right?
It's lit.
Yeah, we're lit.
It's lit YouTube.
It's lit YouTube. And look, the reality is, like, I mean, you may have seen this little cheeky fella whilst I went for a drink, because a lot of us are still associated with the Cheese Room, myself included. So I'll be doing some podcasts this year over the Cheese Room. Yeah. It's a great podcast. Be a part of that as well. Get over there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. So there's room for everyone. We don't want people to think this is an acrimonious split.
No,
absolutely not. It's absolutely amicable, and there'll be some crossover between the two brands.
There will,
and that's that really. And if there's any other questions, hit me in the DMs on Twitter at Cheese Room OC, which is still my handle because I'm still on the Cheese Room as well.
But let's get out there and follow our Twitter page, because we need to build that up as we had before. So please go and do that.
Yes, HG is still going to be on this one.
HG still on.
Brendan will still be on from time to time.
Yes, I expect to see Bren.
Yeah. So and John obviously is here. So a lot of familiar faces, maybe some new ones as well. But look, we wanted to just rebrand, refresh, renew. We're going to be covering transfers. You can catch Matt with the ever so handsome Craig on Tuesday night next week. They'll be talking transfers. Hopefully, something will be happening soon with the the international team starting to drop outside of the Euros. We should then see some transfer movement. And look, there's a long way to go in the transfer window, as I'm told. But we will be covering it all for you. And we will also be covering match reviews, previews, chat shows, all the usual stuff. So make sure you hit the subscribe. And there you go. That's it. Gibbo, thanks for joining.
No problem, mate. Love Island's on, so I'm always free when Love Island's on, Corley. You know that.
I've got to say, there's one thing I did spot in the chat. I'd like to sign Barella. So would I. He's possibly the best midfielder on FIFA. And Jack H, thanks for joining.
Yep, I'm thrilled and proud to be part of the launch of the rebranded channel. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long time since been on the show, and I love the fact that you host. I don't have to worry about any of the duties, so that's the perfect thing for me.
Yeah, no worries. It's the easy bit hosting. I don't have to think of any answers. So look, I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you back on Tuesday, and in the meantime, lads, it's Tottenham.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.